David Hurst and Keith Hackett are our guests for this week's Ref Show. As per last week, we have plenty of examples of how it should be done. Premier League referees having generally a good weekend. But there is the odd example as well of how it shouldn't be done. Good learning for young referees indeed. I think this programme can help referees at all levels at times, Keith. And we're going to try and do that with a case study on Michael Oliver, who's acknowledged by you and Mark Halsey and other experts on our website as being an excellent, still young referee, packing a lot of experience at 30. But some points to learn from his game. Swansea won, Everton won, Keith.
I think that where Michael is currently getting it wrong is on the major incidents. You know, the week before, Crystal Palace, Man City, missed a penalty, which is a key major incident. This week, he missed a second yellow.
This is for Kone, who should have been sent off by common consent, the Everton player.
Now, you know, we talk about referees getting big decisions right, and these are big decisions that he's getting wrong. And this is where I think he needs to focus his attention on improving his performance. And the way he improves his performance is he's a fit guy, and therefore he's got to use it more. And where he uses it is an explosive sprint, 1 metre, 2 metres, will get him in close proximity to play with a better viewing angle. We talk about this regularly, don't we, on this programme? And this is where he has to improve his performance.
But otherwise, he still retains that title of being an excellent referee in the making.
The players trust him. And I think, you know, he's got a nice style, he's not arrogant. I think he can learn a lot from watching Mark Clattenburg.
Well, we'll come on to Mark's game in a moment, which is another of our case studies. David, I suppose if we were to make an analogy with football and say a striker, it's a striker holding the ball up very, very well, bringing teammates into play, doing nearly everything right, but suddenly the big chance comes.
I was just going to say, Alan, he's there on them decisions, you know, and the couple of yards sprint and getting in a better position. That's what we're all striving to do as players as well, you know. And the best striker in the world will miss an opportunity because he's not there at the right time. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the nature of it. But I do think he's been picking up some great little spots as well. You know, obviously the penalty at the weekend.
Oh, terrific.
I mean, that for everybody watching on TV, okay, you thought it would probably a penalty, a free kick for the push, rather than the cheeky little handball that he saw. So, you know, full marks to him for spotting that. I think we're always going to have the occasional blip. Now, unfortunately, when it becomes in a penalty situation, it makes it an absolute massive blip. So, you know, it will be there. This is what they're trying to clear up, and I'm sure they'll work at that. Because, like you said, what a good young referee he is, and his manners are superb.
And with all the experience he's gaining, he can only get better and better. He's still only 30, actually. You know, he's been around for quite some time for 30 years.
He is. It's amazing because the North East has this constant feed of top quality referees. You know, we look at Pat Partridge, Kevin Owley before him, Courtney, outstanding referees. So I think it's got this feed of top quality guys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we said we'd come on to Mark Clattenburg, which we will do. I must just mention a note again. A week ago, we talked about Glenn Turner's comment on RefCam about a particular assistant referee, Mark Perry, and Glenn was again doing the game that Perry was running the line. He said for the second week running, he was out of his depth. So that's maybe one for PGMOL to take note of.
Well, if Howard Webb is doing the appointment, then clearly, if the guy's not good enough, then Howard's got to discard him. That's how tough life is, and put the guys in that can do the job.
Right, Mark Clattenburg certainly can. Huge game, Manchester United 4, Manchester City 2. By common consent, he had a very, very good game, although there was one major talking point.
I think that the first thing, Alan, is to say, look at his movement, his positioning. I mean, there's sometimes when he's about 1 metre, 2 metres away when he's making the call. We all know, and I'm sure he does, he knows that he's missed the red card offence. Company coming in. Easy in hindsight, looking at the replays to see that that's a red. But what I really liked about it was he had some doubt. and therefore he's going to consult. And he goes through the communication system. He's still he's still unsure, so he goes face to face with the guy. He wants to look in the eyes of his assistant to say, "Look, can you help me on this one?"
Yeah.
And there's no help forthcoming, and he doesn't guess. So he goes on with the game, and I think he gained a lot of credit from the process. From my perspective, this is absolutely 100% where a video ref sat in the stands could have helped the referee by just saying, "That's red mark, dispatch him."
Yeah.
And we no need to know that the video referee had stepped in.
Absolutely.
We're only looking at the consultation with the assistant referee.
Well, he's going to go for what, another 30 seconds, if that, from the consultation that went off.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, I think within the time. I think well within the time.
But
the
like
video referee could have.
I keep saying,
judged
Alan,
it.
if it does take a minute, if it takes 2 minutes, it's the right result. In the
But
end.
I think
and
as
that's
well.
the main part.
Absolutely, David. I think Keith's saying it can be achieved within seconds.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, like we're watching on
we're not.
TV, we see it, the replay, like the commentator, it's an instant judgment. But again, the other aspect is we've called for Mark Clattenburg's continual exposure and appointments and all that goes with it. Look how he talks to players, how he was consulting with players, he was keeping them informed, all positive.
Yeah.
Other referees can learn from it.
I mean, I like watching him referee. You know, a few months ago we were sat here. He hadn't got a game at the weekend. Now he's got the biggest game of the weekend. You know, he is the best referee out there.
Yeah, and I think that
he should be pushed and forced into games like that.
I think your comments, Keith's comments, Mark Halsey's comments within the show have been absolutely vindicated. And the situation has turned around for him. Do you think, Keith, that this can turn around also in terms of selection for the European Championships?
Well, I know behind the scenes that there's this undercurrent of them pushing Martin Atkinson for the Euro 2015s. You know, I mean, look, let's take the simple view. The best referee, the one in form, is Clattenburg. Let him have the role because he's representing referees in this country, and he'll do a damn good job if he's selected.
Certainly a sea change in the way the appointments are handled. And again, we ask, is Howard Webb now making those appointments? If you had to bet on it, you'd say that he was.
I'm going to watch the appointments that are made this week to see how that shapes, because with the likes of Michael Jones, Dowd, Foy not being used, you know, the only guy that was actually exposed was Kevin Friend.
We'll come to Kevin Friend's game in a moment. Just a quick word about Lee Probert getting back into the Premier League, getting games. You made the point last week, understandably, you felt he was off the pace a bit, Keith. He handled Aston Villa's 1-0 win at Tottenham. He sent off Carlos Sanchez. He misses as a result of Villa's FA Cup semi-final versus Liverpool. Any queries or points about Probert's performance there?
No, I think that he's got to get fit. He's got to underpin this fitness, which is such a vital aspect of refereeing in the Premier League. And I think if he can do that, then he's got the experience. Put him out on the games to get that experience. Good to see him back.
Okay, good. Kevin Friend, David, mentioned previously, Southampton 2, Hull City 0. Should have been a couple of red cards.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that was definitely one missed. I mean, I've seen it myself. There's no way that that's accidental. You know, Pella knew exactly what he was doing, and invariably ends up scoring a goal.
Yes, that's
so it makes it an even bigger problem. Yeah.
This was like to quote Steve Bruce, this was a forearm smash on Alex Bruce, the manager.
I can understand if he catches him with his right arm, but not the left arm coming round. You know, what is that doing coming round there? It's not a part of jumping for the ball. Yeah.
And another one, Keith, in the same game. This was Bruce himself might have been sent off. He fouled long for a penalty, but
Dogzo. He fulfilled the criteria. He should have gone. I just wonder, hey, come on, the referee at this Premier League level, we shouldn't be questioning his courage. He's got to apply the laws. If a red card's got to be shown, it's got to be shown.
Yeah. I mean, Bruce's reaction, he thought he was going. He thought he was walking after the incident.
Yeah. Quite a relief for him, but another bad defeat for Hull City. They must be fearing a little bit at the moment. Anthony Taylor has cropped up in several recent conversations. Seems to be having a good run, Keith. Sunderland 1, Palace 4. What do you think?
just like the player, if a player's got confidence or a team's got confidence, they play well. And I think this is what he's now underpinning his performances. There's a bit of confidence come into his game. I think consistency of appointments. Therefore, he's one of these bankers now into the format of here's the 10 games that's going to be played. Get him in, get Dean in, get Clattenburg in. There are enough referees that fill those spots and reduce the exposure of poor performances.
They're beginning to pick themselves, David.
Yeah.
As you'd want with a team.
This is what we're wanting, isn't it? You know, this is the reaction you want from referees. And as Keith rightly says, if you're having a good time refereeing, you know, it gets easier, it gets better. The understanding of it gets better. As he says, as a player does.
Yeah. Well, we're moving on to Martin Atkinson, the aforementioned. West Brom 2, Leicester City 3. I know that Mark Halsey raised one query here. I think it was over West Brom's second goal. Interference with the goalkeeper? What do you think?
Well, I think we all at times wonder about this offside law and the interpretation. Assistant's in a good position. I'm not so sure that he interfered that much. The goalkeeper's got a clear view. He's got to make and go for the ball. He's not been interfered with. Why rule out goals?
Well, if that's all we're talking about, Martin Atkinson had a good game. I think we've got to say that. And stop me finally if there's a query, because I know we're going to talk about running in a moment. West Ham 1, Stoke 1, Roger East. Burnley 0, Arsenal 1, Mike Dean, the ever reliable. QPR 0, Chelsea 1, Andre Mariner. Do you have any points to raise on any of those?
Well, I think the London derby, the expectation is you're going to have a bit of blood and thunder, but it wasn't there. It was the outcome was a pretty soft game. And therefore that made it easy for Andre. Good. If that's again is building the confidence of an individual, then fine. Good for referee. So I think overall a good week. Great to say a good week, and perhaps. Really, the major talking point has been away from the Premier League, and this is the girl who refereed the under-19s, where a penalty kick was awarded for England. There was encroachment, quite rightly. She sort of blew the whistle to say encroachment, then got it totally wrong by awarding an indirect free kick, when in fact it should be a retake of the penalty kick. As a result, for the first time, we're really seeing UEFA now declaring that the players have got to come back onto the stadium, and they've got to finalise the game by that penalty kick.
Well, the penalty was taken. It was scored.
Yes,
that must have taken some bottle after all the delay. But it raised a scenario whereby if a decision is wrong in law, it's not a matter of opinion or interpretation.
Correct.
In the Premier League, would the FA order that scenario here?
I think that I can't see that happening over here.
No,
I mean, even though
a gross error, wouldn't it?
Well, didn't go with Sheffield United at that time. I think it was Arsenal, was it?
Yeah, that was the drop ball. So they replayed it.
That was replayed.
Good point.
That was. It was. That was a matter of etiquette and the protocol of the game, and everybody agreed it should be replayed. That's fascinating. I've got to say, finally on the programme, we've given him one pat on the back already. The man that we think is now selecting Premier League referees, Howard Webb, put his own name down for the Sheffield Half Marathon last weekend, and I've got to congratulate him, even though he finished just a mere 17 minutes in front of your presenter sitting in the studio. I thought you'd have done better than that, Howard, but seriously, a great effort. Over 1 hour 57 he took over a pretty hellish course in terms of a 1,000-foot climb. So he retains his fitness.
Well, I think that's great credit to him. You know, I mean, the one thing about Howard is that off the field he does some terrific work. I mean, he helps Bluebell Wood with their charity, and I think great credit to him. He's a great guy. I mean, although I've not been critical of him as an individual over the months. I think I've just been disappointed that, one, he decided to give up refereeing. That was a personal disappointment to me. And the fact that he wasn't given his head to actually get involved. It looks as though Mike Riley has stepped one pace aside and giving him some freedom.
Okay, Keith, points well made. David, I'm sorry we've run out of time, and I'd love to talk to you about your marathon running effort. I really would, but we just don't have time to do it. You know, after the climb, 1,000 feet, we pass the Norfolk Arms at Ringing Low. If you'd have got that far,
sat in there after
you'd have got no further.
We couldn't talk about the 6.5 hours it would have taken me.
No, we haven't got 6.5 hours anyway. Chaps, thanks very much indeed. Thank you to you for following us. As ever, youotherf.com if you have any points or queries to make, and we'll see you next week. Bye.